Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind season 7 episode 11. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So I actually wanted to talk about a few things before we get into the review of the episode, because there's been a lot of discourse online and in the group chat with my friends, there's been a lot of discourse too. So I just wanted to touch on some things. You can skip ahead if you don't want to listen to my little spiel, right? So two things that I've been seeing. People have been upset with Netflix and casting and background checks and all that stuff. And also people have been upset with the editing of this season. So touching on the screening, the casting and all that, background checks can only check for so much, okay? They can only see what is there on paper. They can only see what's available on your social media. They cannot account for human behavior for the most part. Like, they can do a psych eval, but even that, people can perform. What's his name? Tyler friggin' lied on his application. Like, people are able to fabricate information in order to get on a show. So to blame Netflix or to blame casting for bringing on some unhinged people, don't think it's fully on them. I don't think it's fully on them. I do think they could be a little bit more meticulous. I think that they should stop recruiting people from social media, but to fully blame Netflix, like, oh my gosh, why would you, there's this big discourse of like, oh my gosh, why did the Black women have to keep going through this stuff? Respectfully, a lot of those men showed themselves from the pods. And it's not like Married at First Sight where you were just put with somebody and you are legally married before meeting this person. These women said yes to this person in the pods. Now, Tyler is the only one that's a little bit murky, but for the most part in this season and seasons prior, everyone had their red flags flashing in the pods and still is like, I'm gonna say yes. At that point, that's on you. That's what I believe. I still think that casting could do a better job, but I also think that people go in blind on Love is Blind and think that because people have done a pre-vetting that they don't have to vet. You still have to vet these people properly. Just because you're on a show doesn't mean you're getting the creme de la creme, okay? Number two, a lot of people are upset with the editing. They feel like we're just being dropped into certain conversations. There's all of this backstory that we're not getting context on. Love is Blind has had a lot of allegations, a lot of accusations, a lot of legal proceedings regarding like entrapment and just mistreating, all the kind of stuff, starving people, whatever, right? I think to combat that, they haven't been keeping people against their will, for lack of better words. So we're not going to be privy to a lot of the conversations that we would have been beforehand, because they're not there all the time like they used to be. They're not forcing people to stay like they used to be, right? So couples are dropping off like flies and we're not seeing them actually make the decision at the altar, because there have been so many complaints from previous contestants and from the audience. So yeah, we might only get 2 couples at the altar, maybe even 1 couple at the altar, but that's because of all the backlash that has happened in seasons prior. At least that's what I believe. I don't have fact of this. That's just what I'm saying. So I do also want to clarify that, and as much as I can understand some of the decisions that production is making, this season might go down as one of the worst, okay? There needs to be a documentary called Surviving Season 7. Because you've got like Hannah, the absolute hater, like the hater from hell. You've got Tyler, the pathological liar, Steven, the freaky frog, Leo, the man who came into money under very suspicious circumstances. Okay. Who else do we got? Ramses, the regressive progressive. Even Tim. And it's weird because I heard this, but my mind did not want to accept what he said or what Ashley said. She was like, I just finished being a vessel, like, for your parents. It's the oddest group of people. I do understand, like, everyone's frustration. These people are tapped. A lot of these people are absolutely tapped. I do wish that the show was structured a little bit better, especially because they're cranking them out so quickly. But I also do understand why it is structured the way that it is at the same time. It's a hard balance. it's a hard balance. Just remember that it's TV at the end of the day, guys. We're not even supposed to be taking it that serious. What would make Love is Blind a little bit better is maybe giving CCTV footage the way that the ultimatum has it. But what about those like entrapment rules and stuff like that? Like, I feel like that goes against what they're trying to fight against right now. So I say all that to say, yeah, it might be frustrating, but it kind of makes sense when you take in consideration all that's happened, all the complaints that have come out from seasons prior. But going into this episode, we have Hannah and Nick. They reach home after the mixer thing. And she, of course, has a bone to pick with Nick. She claims that her best friend in the world, being Katie, best friend in the world is insane. I would be so offended if I knew her before the show. Her best friend in the world was having a long conversation with her fiance, and she didn't feel comfortable with what they potentially could have been talking about.
You guys are giggling, having the best time of your life. It's annoying.
I didn't need closure.
That's what you said.
I didn't say I need closure. Say?
But why did you have a 40-minute conversation then?
She's a cool girl.
She's my best friend.
That's your best friend in the world. Why don't you go and ask her what happened?
With you, there's no more fun. Like, I'm a fucking fun-ass person. I taught you fucking everything that you fucking know. I turned into a boy into a fucking man. I was a fun girl. I was so fun.
Right.
My best friend told me how attractive you were.
What does that have to do with me?
I don't know if I don't trust you, but I don't know if I trust Katie.
Hannah has a tendency to say that she's okay with something that she's clearly not okay with. One of the examples is the whole closure thing. She didn't push back when he said he wanted closure or something to that effect, because he's denying that he said he wanted closure. You didn't say, hey, I have an issue with you talking to an old fling. So then he went and talked to that old fling. Like, if you really had a problem with it, you should have said something, okay? Then this woman goes and says, I've made you into a man. I can't give you that much credit, girl. You're giving yourself way too much credit, especially with the way that you treat him. There is no way you think you are the one who has matured him. She says that she's been so high-strung and so stressed because this process has just done a number on her. She wants to make sure that she's choosing the right partner for her. All this stuff. She was so prepared to show the fun side of her, and then Nick went and ruined it. How did Nick go and ruin it? You're the one who, as soon as you came home, you wanted to rip him a new asshole. Like, how is he the problem here? And then she turns around and says, he's not even the problem. Her bestie, her best friend in the whole world is the problem, because how dare she talk so long to her man behind her back? She needs to know what went on in that conversation. Why do you need to know? Nick is telling you, we didn't even talk about anything that deep. Nobody was flirting. No lines were crossed. Like, what's the problem? And then, if your problem is with her, bring it up with her. And then, oh Lord, I literally felt like I was watching a person with a personality disorder, because then she flipped it and she's like, you look so hot. Obviously that was like a chopped and screwed edit, but you go from that to wanting to get some mid-peen from Nikki D, sans the D, like, girl, Hannah. I also wanted to point out a comment that I saw in the last video. Somebody said that Katie should be the one who's with Nick because she speaks so much nicer to him. I think it's easy to say that because she doesn't have to deal with Nick. Granted, Hannah has no business being as mean to Nick as she is. She needs an attitude adjustment, one for the ages. However, I can't just say Katie would be so much better because we don't have the luxury of seeing Katie with Nick. She already said that in the pause, her issue with him was his immaturity. I can imagine she would be irritated as well, having to deal with Nick day in and day out. I'm so intrigued to see how she's going to present herself at the reunion, because if you guys watch the Ultimatum South Africa, I feel like she's going to come like Kanya did. Just like, I'm so sorry. I apologize for everything. I was completely out of line. I should have never talked like that. I should have never, like, just completely apologetic, because there's no way Hannah thinks that she has conducted herself in a proper manner. There's just no way. So Taylor has collected herself after the whole text situation. I just want to say, I remember pointing out in the pods that this girl has a tendency of making things bigger than they need to be. Don't get me wrong. I do agree with her. I do think that Garrett was misrepresenting the truth there. Okay. He could have been a little bit more transparent. Wasn't a big deal, but I'm asking you to be honest and you weren't being honest. That's a problem. But she definitely made it a little bit bigger than it needed to be. But that's something that we've seen from her even back from the pods. Just being honest. Anyways, they finally get to go to San Diego. I guess the camera crew didn't have the actually no, that does make sense that the camera crew wouldn't have clearance to go over there because these two were vlogging their whole trip.
We didn't sleep all night. I was crying a lot. I'm trying my best to like make sure that we table that. This thing that I don't think he did intentionally or maliciously. But what do we think of the neighborhood?
Love it. Love it.
My family and friends.
They're all very wonderful.
All the support and love that we got. I think they can see just like how happy I am and how deeply we've thought about it. And I'm glad you got to meet everyone today.
Yeah. Looking forward to the wedding.
Garrett got to meet the entire family. I don't know who all those people were, but she clearly has a support system that is ready to have their back as a couple, so that's great. I'm not quite sure how the dad conversation went. I don't think they touched on that. I don't think they did. But they later on had a conversation with the mom, and the mom was saying that she had to talk the dad off the ledge and just to say, hey, listen, they're not our kids anymore in the sense that they're not children. They're grown adults. They're going to make their own decisions. And we should just be happy that we're being brought along on the journey. So the mom has given her blessing. The dad, I guess, by proxy, is also giving the blessing. But yeah, I feel like Taylor's little panics are still going to be present in their relationship. However, the way that all these other couples are going, at least these two have a pretty clear path to marriage. Tyler is still apologizing for him withholding information from Ashley, but Ashley says, you know what? The shock has worn off. We're good.
You know, I said sorry a million times.
Yeah.
Sorry again.
I feel like I want you in my life no matter what. That's what I've concluded.
I like that conclusion.
Now, any more cats crawl out them bags now. I can't make no promises.
Ashley says that all the risk that she could be facing going into this relationship is worth the reward. Tyler being the reward. Baby girl, Tyler is not no damn prize, honey. He is not. She tells him that this is the only pass that she's going to give him, that if any more, well, I think this is what she meant, because she said if any more cats come out, I don't know the cat metaphor, but I deduced that if anything else comes out of left field, she's not going to be as gracious as she is this time around. And I'm thinking, I hope that you're being true, especially because of all the things that have just been coming out left, right, and center regarding this man. I can only imagine how much of a blindside it is for her to see some of the things that are happening. I highly doubt Tyler would have done his due diligence and told her all of this before the show started to air. I highly doubt it, okay? The man literally said his kids likely don't know what he looks like when he spends every holiday with them. Just insane. I'm hoping that in present day they're not together, because I have been seeing rumors. Some people are saying they did get married. Some people are saying they didn't get married. I don't know. I'm not going to go and find out because I want to be surprised. But I hope that in present day, they're not a thing. Hannah and her shoulder pads bring Nick to meet her friends. And it's so irritating watching Nick because he's clearly getting pummeled day in and day out. And he doesn't even have a backbone because he's here like, yeah, you know, you have made me into a man. And when she says stuff like that, you get mad, but you say it right back to her like, come on. And then he also says that he's basically trying to change his personality so that she will like him more. Why? Why are we doing that? But anyways, her friends come, the names, Lord. So she's Hannah. She got a friend named Hannah, and she got another friend called Adriana. They are all putting Nick in the hot seat.
Women were never a priority to me. I was really invested in football. I gave everything to that. Before Hannah, I never loved anyone before. I want to start a family and I want to get married.
sometimes that I am a little bit too direct, and you know me, you know that's actually coming from the most kind place. And sometimes it can come off as like malicious or rude. I'm a truth teller, baby.
Until like they have it. Thank you.
I'm having to change a lot about the type of man I am. I'm questioning myself now. Like,
You think I'm trying to change you, and I don't want to change you.
The things that she's saying are just actions. You're acting like this is a huge thing you have to change and do, and it's not.
Hannah, at every opportunity, she's able to pinpoint her pitfalls. She knows she's rude. She knows she's mean. She knows she's condescending. She knows she's belittling. She knows that Nick doesn't like it because he's expressed it a few times now. Hey, I don't like this. Yet you continue to do it. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is that phrase? The definition of delusion? Is it delusion? Is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Like, you know you're mean. You know you could do better and you choose not to do better. Yet you believe you're ready for marriage and he's not. That to me is insane. So the friends are like, she's not asking you to change as a person. She's just asking you to become to be more cognizant of the things that need to change while going into a relationship. Yeah, some of those things, sure, I'll give that to you. Like responsibilities around the house, whatever. But some stuff are part of his personality, and she wants him to change that as well. She does. And so she's out here like, I know what it takes to be in a relationship. And it's all of these, what can I say? Because they're not like superficial things. They are serious things. But I think as important as she finds like finances and house responsibilities and stuff, there is the same importance in how you treat people and the respect you have for the partner, the consideration you have for their feelings. All of that is just as important. So if he's not ready, neither are you. And I know I keep interjecting, but I'm having so many new revelations while editing this video. I actually kind of want to give Nick some props because he's realizing where his pitfalls are and he's realizing the things that his partner needs from him. And he's actually taking that on task and trying to fulfill his partner in those ways. And I can't say that Hannah is doing the same. Like, she hasn't. She knows herself the things that she needs to work on without being told and is deliberately not doing it. Nick shouldn't conform to the person that she wants him to be. However, at least he's making an effort to meet his partner somewhere. She's making no effort at all to kind of accommodate the needs of her partner, to consider the feelings of her partner. She's not doing that. Whereas he's doing that. He's doing it too much, but at least he's trying. I kind of fear for Nick because he's morphing into somebody who's almost unrecognizable. And this could lead to resentment down the line. Like, we know how the episode ends, but if he stayed with her and he just kept morphing into someone he knows he's not, down the line, he might have that realization, like, I actually don't like who I am. I don't like who you've made me to be. And so, yeah, I do resent you. And she might resent him for reverting back to who he really is and has always been. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm glad things ended the way that they did because this was a recipe for disaster. The day of dress shopping comes and Hannah is still complaining about Nick.
She doesn't match me creatively. He doesn't match me financially. He doesn't match me intellectually. Nick doesn't match my humor. Him meeting my friends yesterday, and they did not like him.
None of that matters if you love each other. None of that matters.
Not PJ with the bad advice. The stuff that she's complaining about absolutely does matter. Y'all are just ready to ship her off to somebody else.
I do love him. I think that's why I'm still here. I'm teaching him how to love, and I'm teaching him to be in a relationship, and that's not very fair to me.
Hannah says it is unfair that she has to teach Nick how to love and how to be in a relationship. Again, I say you're giving yourself way too much credit. Way too much credit. Do you know how to love? You have not been showing up very lovingly. Do you know how to be in a relationship? Because you don't even respect the man. And I feel like that's a baseline when you're in a relationship. How dare you? How dare you? Hannah is so lucky she's even with somebody like Nick in this process. Because if it were anybody else, they would have been tussling from time. If she was with Tim, All I'm gonna say is, Hannah, you are so lucky you picked somebody who was as patient as he is with you, because quite frankly, you don't deserve it. So Hannah didn't show up to the dress shopping. Whatever, who cares, girl? I also don't really care about the dress shopping. So if you wanted to see me gush over it, sorry to disappoint. I will point out some things that I picked up. Ashley's blind loyalty definitely comes from her mama. Why was the mama like, I feel like I've known Tyler for years? You haven't. That's a wrong feeling. You don't even know this man, okay? He's a fraud. Girl. Then we see Tyler crying. In my head, I was like, this man cannot believe he finally bamboozled somebody into his foolishness. That's all that was going through my mind. I'm like, these tears, I don't buy it for a second. Not for a second. We also see Jake. I don't know if you guys have been seeing Jake on social media, but Jake has been on a Tyler redemption tour, trying to explain that it's not as bad as you guys think. But then come to find out, baby mama, mother of Tyler's kids, said that Jake actually went back to her and apologized because he has since learned that Tyler's story is not as he portrays it to be. This reunion is going to be juicy. Okay. Then we see Marissa's mom being a lot more gracious with Ramses. She says that she believes he is genuine, and now she is a lot more supportive than she was the first time around. Garrett says that he's not used to being with someone where he doesn't have all the control. I wish he went more into that. Not quite sure what he meant. And even though he feels like things could change on a dime with Taylor because she is a little bit reactive, he still loves her and he still wants to marry her. So Hannah has been lamenting on all the issues that she has with Nick. And she decides, you know what? I'm just going to pile it all on you because I'm on my way out anyways.
What's the one thing you asked for? You said you wanted someone that can push you.
Yeah.
Is it too much though?
At times.
Respect, delusional.
Maturity, confidence versus something.
Those 5 concerns that I have are still there.
Throwing shade for no reason.
It's just the truth.
When you constantly bash me and say I'm turning you from a boy to a man, I've never seen this side of you. I'm not the type of man to sit here and come up with a notebook full of notes and bash you.
If this is the last conversation that we ever have, I would like to be able to get all my feelings out. Nick's very good at telling people what they want to hear, and I feel very manipulated, and you have to be real, and you have to be honest, and I'm so real and honest. We are not going to get married.
I am so glad she ended things because I needed Hannah off my screen expeditiously. I needed her off. She was doing the absolute most, riddling all the things she doesn't like about him, all the ways he hasn't improved, When she read those 10 things she hates about him, a good 8 of them could have applied to her too. Actually did apply to her too. The delusion of Hannah is actually insane. It's funny because Tabby Talks calls her Delulu. Truly, she truly is Delulu. And she now feels like she has been manipulated by Nick. Where? Show me the receipts, honey boo boo, because what? You've been manipulated by Nick. When? She also feels like Nick was trying to save face for the cameras and he didn't want to look bad. And he explains like, well, yeah, you kind of do make me look bad all the time. So I just wanted to get ahead of it. Now I can see how that maybe could be seen as manipulation, but she does make him look bad every time they're on screen. Like, you do. I would love for them to show us some kind of footage where she says, where she proves that he was manipulating her. I would love to see it. This is giving Zenab again. Zenab talking about, he fat shamed me. Oh my gosh, he was fat shaming me. Okay, girl. So she finally says what she's been wanting to say all this time. She doesn't want to marry him. I breathed a sigh of relief. I don't know if you did. I'm just so glad that Nick has been released. Now, Nick, watch this show back and let this be a cautionary tale that you need to step it up. Not for somebody like Hannah, because she does not deserve, whatever Nick could have given her, okay? He needs to mature. We can all acknowledge that. Mama, maybe you need to cut him off. I know she wanted to give him everything that she didn't have. She admitted to coddling him, but it's time for him to grow up, especially if marriage is a desire for him. he's got to leave and cleave. Thank you very much. In the pods, Ashley said that before she gets married, she wants to skydive. I thought this was a joke. It was not.
Thank you, Jesus.
Good job, bro.
How do you feel?
Thanks for making me do that.
I love you.
Ashley thinks that because they have now done skydiving together, they can tackle anything. Okay. There's a lot of things that I would rather do than be married to a pathological liar. So I don't know what you're talking about. I would skydive 17 more times before I choose to be with somebody like Tyler. Like, this is insane. Ashley says that she has the scary reality of having to bear children. And with Tyler, the only thing, and I'm praying to God, this isn't foreshadowing to her being pregnant or something, because I will lose my ever-loving mind. But anyways, she says to him that all he has to do is donate his sperm, which was a poor choice of words, but like, truly, that's all you gotta do. And you already have done that. Like, you're a pro at this. Come on. You're used to this, okay? Moving on. Taylor and Garrett have a date that I didn't really care for, so we're gonna skip past that. 4 days out to the wedding, this is where the couples have like their last date together. And Ramses and Marissa have this like odd conversation.
Sometimes outside influence is not like helpful. I know it's normal to feel nerves.
Yeah.
Maybe letting those people get to you, they're not here with us. Like,
I don't want to get to a place where like down the road we're getting divorced.
that is the risk of falling in love. Like, we're all terrified of that. I bare my soul to you, you bare your soul to me, and it doesn't work out. That's literally the risk of falling in love, Ramses.
She's basically saying, I feel like I've been taking a lot of responsibility when it comes to planning this wedding. And it's kind of unfair because I'm still in school. I'm doing all this commute. Like, I'm doing a lot of stuff and you're not really doing much of anything. Ramses doesn't deny that. He says that he wants to make sure that they are on good footing before he plans stuff with the wedding, because that's not as important. To me, I was getting the impression that he don't want to do it because he don't want to marry her. Why aren't you as excited to plan the wedding? Then they also talk about the fact that he has to be prompted to give a gift to her mom, whereas that just comes naturally to her. So why does he have to be told to do something that should be intuitive? Again, I don't think he's doing it because, no, I think he's not doing it because he doesn't want to. Simple as. If he wanted to do those things, he would do it. If he wanted to plan the wedding, he would plan it. Take that as a sign. So then Netflix drops us into a random disagreement that they're having. There's no point even using the clips because you can't even follow it in the show. It's going to be even harder to follow in my chopped up version. What I'm understanding is he is getting cold feet and she is very frustrated by it. He did say in the last conversation that his Guyanese family is still attached to his ex-wife. And so he's likely not going to invite them. And in this conversation, Marissa is saying that he spoke to someone or some people and they have now changed his mind. I don't think anybody changed his mind. I think he's been looking for reasons to maybe slip out the back door. And somebody gave him that last push. That's what it feels like to me. If they get married, I will be surprised. If they're still together to this day, I will be surprised. I truly will be surprised. But yeah, Ramses is trying to dip out. Marissa, pay attention, okay? You should let him go. Let him go, because y'all don't need to be together. But pay attention. Like, he's quiet quitting the relationship, essentially. So that's insane. The finale, same time next week, Wednesday. Well, you guys are watching this on Thursday, but Wednesday, we'll see who actually gets married. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. And then I assume the reunion is going to be on Sunday. So that is going to be a shit show. And I'm ready. I'm so ready. So as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.